Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Nate here. And Skyrim is an enormous game. I believe that word translates to huge in German if translate serves me properly. Look, I'm almost out of ways to call Skyrim big in English, okay? Anyway, The Elder Scrolls V, despite first hitting shelves nearly 8 years ago, still continues to amaze me with the size of its world and storylines. And indeed, Bethesda's attention to the little things was so impressive that even all this time later, new things can still be uncovered. So, why not do some of that uncovering today? Sit back and relax as we explore yet another 10 tiny details you may still have missed in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, Part 45. Starting off, Ganna and her sister Gemma Uriel are two Imperials living in the small mining community of Kynes Grove in Eastmarch. They have quite the intriguing backstory that they're more than interested in sharing if you speak to either of them. Apparently, the two girls were born and raised in Cyrodiil, but decided to take out a series of loans and move to Skyrim in order to open up a lumber mill. Shortly after setting up shop, the sisters were informed that their mill was sitting on sacred ground, and the Jarl of Eastmarch, that being Ulfric Stormcloak, permanently banned them from chopping down any nearby trees, effectively ruining their entire operation before it even got started. Now the pair live in a miner's camp, working at Steamscorch Mine as laborers, desperately trying to make enough money to pay back their debts, now that their business is effectively ruined. That said, every now and again they're able to import wood from other forests to process at their mill, and make some extra coin. They just can't cut down any nearby trees themselves. Anyway, it seems these two sisters, despite living in Eastmarch, the capital hold of the Stormcloak Rebellion, may secretly be working with the Empire. It's possible to overhear dialogue between the women, where in a hushed tone they discuss receiving letters from General Tullius, and allude to supporting him. Take a listen.
Did I tell you I got a letter from General Tullius? They've conscripted some more archers and will need—
Shh! That's not something we want everyone to be hearing.
Oh, like the sleepy rebel supporters in this town are going to tell anyone.
Let's just not take the chance. We can talk about this later.
Perhaps Genna and Gamma see helping the Empire as a subtle way to get back at Ulfric for banning them from being able to cut down trees. Or maybe Tullius is just offering them some much-needed coin. Whatever the case, it seems not all of the citizens of Kynes Grove are as loyal to the rebel cause as Ulfric would like. Next on our list, during your first visit to Riften's Ratway sewers, you'll have to face off against a number of deranged souls who live down here and will be very hostile to the player. One of these characters will be an insignificant-looking Imperial by the name of Jien the Fist, and he'll attack you unarmed, wearing nothing but some rags and a set of fur gloves. If you loot his body, you'll find those gloves are indeed unique. They're called Gloves of the Pugilist, and have an enchantment that allows the wearer to do an additional 10 points of damage when they're equipped and the user is unarmed, making them kind of like boxing gloves or something. Though, when you think about it, boxing gloves exist to make strikes less powerful. You get the idea. I digress. Believe it or not, we've actually seen this item before. In the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, Gauntlets of the Pugilist were an item that could radiantly be looted from any number of chests or containers. And like in Skyrim, they increased the player's unarmed melee damage, but also boosted stamina and agility. How they made their way from the hero of Kvatch's hands in Cyrodiil 200 years ago, all the way to Riften's sewers, however, remains a bit of a mystery. Coming in at number 3, Angeline Morard is the Breton owner and proprietor of Angela's Aromatics, a potion shop in Solitude. She offers a short quest wherein the elderly woman sends you to find information about her daughter, who's currently serving in the Imperial Legion. Funnily enough though, it seems the Morard family is one that's been around for quite a while. As in the Elder Scrolls Online, a game that takes place over 1,000 years prior to the events of Skyrim, we can meet a Breton chef by the name of Gilbara Morard, who runs the Wasteworks Eating House in Vivec City, Morrowind. Much like Angeline, Gilbara offers to sell the player a variety of potions and alchemical items. Though being a chef, food is also on the menu too. No matter, it would appear the Morards have a long-standing family history of working in the potion and food businesses. Before we dive right into our fourth spot, real quick I feel I should explain Orcish naming conventions. In the Elder Scrolls, Orcish last names aren't passed down like they are within families in the real world. Normally, if your dad's last name is, say, Smith, then your last name will also be Smith. Not so much with Orsimer. Instead, every orc gets their own last name that's just one of their parents' first names with the prefix gro or gra attached depending on their gender. So, say you're a male orc named, I don't know, Shirak, and your father was named Balagug, then your full name would be Shirak Gro Balagug. Well, in the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, we meet an orc named Yargrol Gro Bashnag, who defends the Daedric ruins of Zerganapal, which are used as a worshipping site for Maroon's Dagon. We don't know terribly much about Yargrol, as he seems like a fairly generic NPC with no special dialogue. But, considering his last name is Grobashnag, from what we know about Orisimer naming patterns, he obviously had a father named Bashnag. Well, in Skyrim, there's a cave known as South Fringe Sanctum, inhabited by a small gang of necromancers, who are led by an orc named none other than Bashnag, implying that this man may be Yargrol from Morrowind's father. Skyrim does take place 200 years after the Elder Scrolls 3, but we don't know a whole lot about orcish lifespans. We know orcs are very much related to elves, who can easily survive for centuries, and considering Bashnag is heavily involved in necromancy, it's not unlikely he could have extended his own life anyway. Yargrol's affiliation with the Daedric god Maroon's Dagon only makes this connection more apparent. I guess practicing in the dark arts must have been the family business. Halfway through at number 5, Omron is a Redguard mercenary living in Whiterun with his wife Saphia and daughter Braith. Most of his current time he spends trying to figure out a way to locate and recover a lost family sword, which he believes was stolen by bandits. Saphia thinks the whole effort is nonsense and he should just give up on the blade, leading to quite a rift in their marriage. You can offer to go find the sword yourself and return it for a healthy bit of coin, and Omron's thanks. But what's more interesting for the purposes of this video is that when you speak with him and choose the dialogue option, "You're not from Skyrim, are you?" his response will actually vary depending on your own race. Take a listen.
No, I'm not. Looks like we've got something in common then. No, friend, that I'm not. But I get along with your kind well enough. Ha! Neither are you, eh? Good to see another Redguard. I'd like to think we bring a little heat to this frozen wasteland.
6th, Windelias Catharian is a Dunmer ghost living in Shroudhearth Barrow. I say ghost loosely, because as you learn when you confront him, he's not actually a ghost. I'll try and make this speedy, as we've talked about this character before on the channel. But Windelias was essentially just a normal grave robber, who came to the tomb in search of riches. After setting up a camp inside of the structure and beginning to loot, he noticed that residents from the nearby town of Iverstead kept stopping by to mourn their loved ones. This was a big problem, as if caught, Mr. Catharian would have surely faced some bad consequences. So, he came up with an interesting solution. He created a potion that when consumed would give him the appearance of a ghost. At least, those are the spark notes. After you defeat Windelias, you can take his potions for yourself, and have quite a bit of fun. Well, did you know that in the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, there's a good chance we got to meet one of his relatives? As in the ruins of Zendilion, located in the Shivering Isles, a Dunmer man named Sindelius Catharian could be encountered. Sindelius, much like Windelias, was a looter, and he would be in the company of 2 other adventurers. Together they'd be rummaging throughout the ruin looking for anything they could take back with them. Believe it or not, these 3 characters actually played a pretty big part in a quest, where we would assist the sorcerer that lived in this dungeon in murdering all 3 of the explorers trespassing in his home, including Sindelius. So it's very likely that in Oblivion, we killed Windelias' father or uncle, and then in Skyrim we kill him personally. Hey, who knows? Maybe in the Elder Scrolls 6 we'll be pitted against his son or nephew. Next, Sorex Vidya is an Imperial merchant who works at the Winking Skeever Tavern in Solitude. He's the owner, Corpulus Vinius' son, and designated heir to the establishment. He'll be present for the execution of Rogvir, and if you ask him about his thoughts on the matter after the fact, he'll have some especially blunt things to say about the now headless Nord Guard. He's unsure if Rogvir deserved to die for his actions, though fervently states that he did not like him at all. Evidently, the two grew up together, and used to be great friends as children. One day, while they were still young lads, Sorex revealed to Rogvir that he had a crush on a Breton girl, Vivienne Onis, and that was a mistake. Rogvir began bullying Sorex over this fact, and made sure to tell everyone in the city, including Vivienne. Since then, Sorex claims Rogvir never really outgrew his immaturity. Alas, a funny little detail is that Sorex himself never seems to have outgrown that crush he had on Vivienne either, as he can be overheard purchasing a bottle of spiced wine from the town's marketplace, and makes it very clear who he intends to give it to.
Spiced wine for the winking skeever?
Actually, just a bottle for me today. I'm thinking of giving it to Vivienne.
Sure, Sorex, just like you did the last one.
The last one was a warm-up.
Coming in at number 8, Lucan and Camilla Valerius are two Imperials who recently moved to Skyrim from Cyrodiil and settled down in the town of Riverwood. Together, the two established the Riverwood Trader, a general goods store, and are currently just trying to survive like everyone else in the midst of a civil war and dragon invasion. However, much like the Morards, did you know that the Valerius family seems to be an incredibly ancient one? In ESO, again a game that already takes place more than 1,000 years prior to Skyrim, there's a character we can meet, an Imperial by the name of Titus Valerius. He plays a somewhat significant role in a series of side quests in Hammerfell, though the thing about Titus is that he is old by the time ESO starts. I mean really old, over 1,000 years. As according to him, he was born a millennium ago, in the First Era. ESO takes place in the Second Era, but was brought forward in time, 1,000 years, to help fight off a threat of strange sand warriors. So, for context, Skyrim takes place 1,000 years after ESO, and this guy was born 1,000 years prior to the Elder Scrolls Online. He's as old to that game as that game is to Skyrim, suggesting that his family name, Valerius, is probably among the oldest clans in all of Tamriel. So while Lucan and Camilla seem like fairly ordinary folk, they have some incredibly ancient blood running through their veins. Getting close to the end here at number 9, Hiroki is a Nord woman living at the Silverblood Inn, which is operated by her parents, in Markarth. Initially, she comes across as a relatively insignificant character. You can't enter dialogue with her, and she plays absolutely zero role in any of the game's quests. But if you spend enough time around her, you'll notice that she has a very, shall we say, interesting personality. She spends most of her day browsing at the city's marketplace, where she scolds Hogni for being a disgusting vendor with a rather snobbish tone.
Ugh, you're the most disgusting merchant I've ever seen. The guard should take you away.
The only people I offend are cheats who don't pay me enough gold coin, or idiots who don't know good meat when I throw it at their faces.
If you ever think of throwing meat at me, I will have you dragged off to Sidna Mine so fast the guards will yank those filthy arms of yours off.
What do I do to deserve such hatred? You give people good food and good prices, and all they do is insult you.
At night, she retreats to the inn, and if you try and speak to her, she'll say this.
My father is more generous than he lets on. Gives me plenty of spending money.
So, clearly Hiroki is a stuck-up character. Well, as you may be surprised, or unsurprised to find out, Hiroki, when translated from Icelandic, means arrogant. So a neat little touch by whoever designed this character over at Bethesda. And finally, last on our list, we head to Dragonsbridge, where we can meet Horgir and his wife Olda. The two's relationship seems to have recently hit quite the rough patch, as Olda asserts that the mill that the two run for a living is beginning to fail, and they're desperate for finances. Meanwhile, Horgir has descended into alcoholism. For his part, Horgir refers to his wife as the most spiteful shrew in all of Skyrim. So their relationship is certainly seeing some tough times. But believe it or not, the issues run far deeper than it might appear at first. If you speak with Vidya, the innkeeper of the Four Shields Tavern, she may comment on Horgir and Olda's relationship, saying, "Poor Horgir, everyone in town knows about his wife's affair but him." Probably better if he doesn't know. So Ulda's cheating on him. But it gets even worse, because the person she's cheating on him with is probably his brother. Because if you kill or hurt Ulda, well, Horgir will do nothing, bandits will be sent after you by his brother Lodvar. And if you kill Horgir, Lodvar won't send bandits after you, but instead give you a thank you note and some gold. He appreciates having his brother out of the picture. And if this isn't damning enough evidence for you, there's a conversation that can radiantly occur between the two brothers that really alludes to Lodvar's interest in Horgir's wife.
One of these days, we'll have to find you a good woman like my Ulda.
Yes, I think I'd enjoy a woman like your wife.
Well then, it's too bad my wife is already taken.
Yes, it's a great shame. God's willing, I'll find someone just like her one day.
But with that, we are going to wrap up. Yet another 10 tiny details you may still have missed in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Part 45. 450 details we've covered so far in this series. That's pretty incredible. Which of the ones we tackled today was your own personal favorite? And what hidden Easter eggs or tiny details do you know of that I haven't covered yet? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everyone.